a lot more quietly because it's morning. My sister's upstairs. I have not yet figured out if she can hear me or not, but just to save myself from embarrassment, I will be talking a little bit lower, quieter. But so today's video is just going to talk very briefly about what I read in October, mainly because I'm pretty sure I gave many reviews, or like enough of a review for each book that I did manage to read, that I won't be in like my spooky reading vlog, that I won't be doing that in this video, mainly because I can't remember much about the books I've read. So I'm really hoping that those vlogs have a review because I won't be able to give you guys a decent review at this time. But first of all, did I succeed in reading my spooky TBR for October? No, I did not. But let me tell you the reason.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. All right. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something.
Like, let me just explain myself, okay? I hit a really weird like wall, like second week or like halfway into October, because it was midterms and that had not clicked with me. And the situation, I think I ended up telling you guys in a vlog that has not yet gone up, but it actually ended up not being that bad, because one reason why I got as stressed as I got, like why I got so stressed, was because I'm taking 4 classes this semester, and for grad school that's like a little intense, because it's just a lot of papers, a lot of research that goes into each class. So 3 is normally kind of the common amount, and then 4 I think is a little like you will be busy. And 2 of, well, technically 3 of the 4 classes are all like what topic of the class, like the class itself, were all aspects of literature I never like really learned or don't have much of a knowledge on. So I was really struggling to think of a topic to write for my final paper for those classes. And I had thought that for midterms we needed to submit like a definitive or at least tentative paper proposal, and I didn't even have tentative topics because that was just how clueless I was into thinking of a paper topic. Like I was still vague, I was still just kind of getting to understand the approach to take for these classes, and just the mindset and the topic and like potential topics that I could think to develop for like tentative topics. So I was really stressed out about that, because I had no idea, no sense of direction where to go for any of these classes and the papers to go to. So that was a lot of panicky stress, and that did get very much in the way of me reading. And obviously, as you guys know, I'm a literature grad student, so I already have to do a whole lot of reading for class, and that does take up reading I can do for fun and all that. So it's just a very big like tension, anxiety, stress-filled moment, like month remaining on the month. So that really got in the way of reading. And so yeah, so of my spooky TBR, I really only read 1 book from that TBR, and then 2 other books weren't even on there. So that's what happened. 5 minutes of explanation. But yeah, so let's get into the books I've read. So I read 3 books. 2 of them were in the first week, and then the second one might be in a vlog I did not post yet. I had explained that earlier in like a previous video, but So the first book I read was The Honjin Murders by Seishi Yokomizo, was it? Yeah, so Seishi Yokomizo, and I had rated all of my books. I rated a 4 out of 5. This one was a really nice, this one was a locked room mystery set in like 1930 something Japan. It focuses on a family that was like, I think they were a noble family, at the very least high class, in feudal Japan or earlier than this time period. However, because times were modernizing, they were kind of starting to lose the prestige that their family name had. And so it was kind of like this family scrambling to keep up with the present time, but also wanting to keep that family prestige. And then, so their oldest son and like the heir of the family gets married. However, on the day of the marriage, well, the day after the marriage, or it was at nighttime, some point after the marriage, when the couple went to their new room, they hear a scream, and then when they get there, they find the couple dead, and the only sign is a bloody katana in the snow. So it's like a locked room mystery in which there is no breaking and entering. Wait, that's not the phrase. I thought it was a really fun, fast read. I found the writing style very interesting, like the style of narration in which we're not learning it as it happens. Like, we don't follow the detective's POV or the police, or like a policeman's POV or a family member's POV. We are actually being given kind of testimonies, or what is that word? We're just given the story through a writer who's getting the information through villagers who were there during the like investigation. So I thought that kind of way of like telling it to us second-handedly was quite interesting, because there were a lot of terms that were both Japanese and also for older style of houses, like tools and whatnot, that I didn't know what they were. So that did kind of like my ability to 100% smoothly follow along. And when I was reading it, I thought that the detective did have to be a genius in order for this to be solved, because if our detective wasn't a genius, this probably wouldn't have been solved. Because one thing is like psychology of the characters really play a part. However, you're not really given the ability to like, as the reader, find and like lean into that aspect. So I thought that the genius detective was definitely needed, but it was a fun, fast, and fairly easy book to read. I would highly recommend this, and it's kind of like the Hercule Poirot series, where it's the same detective but independent cases. And yeah. And then the next book I read was Hell Followed With Us by Andrew Joseph White. This one also 4 out of 5. It's a YA dystopian horror, I think that might be the right thing, book. And it follows Benji, who has recently escaped his cult, the religious cult that did like bioterrorism, in which they brought upon the apocalypse to the world through a virus called the Flood, and they've injected in Benji a variation of the Flood that turns him into a bioweapon to turn him into something they call a seraph. And obviously he runs away. I feel like this is important. He's trans, so he runs away. He finds a group of an LGBTQ plus center, and then stuff like that. He has to hide the fact that he is infected with the virus. However, the leader of the group, who's who's like in the center, he knows, but then Benji realizes that the leader seems to have secrets of his own, and it's like a very stress, high tension, very thought-provoking and like eye-opening story. It is pretty emotional, I would say, and the pacing of the story does get kind of slow at times. There were a few moments where some of the scenes would read like scenes in apocalypse movies, in which, you know, it shows several scenes of how the survivors are surviving and how their day-to-day life looks like in an apocalypse. And those scenes tend to be like a breather to calm down from the high tension of like zombies or monsters or whatever in the movies. However, in the book, it kind of makes it slow, and it does make it a little bit boring, just because it's not like as visual as in the movies, of course, but it doesn't really feel like a breather. It just feels more like dragging it on. So there was that. And then for the last book I read was The Guest List by Lucy Foley. This one was also a 4 out of 5. This one was also a really fun book. Let me look up let's see if I wrote anything about it. I did not. But this was a very fun book. I feel like if it wasn't for the short chapters and the constant like POV changes, it would have been a bit more boring. But I really thought reading and then finding out about the characters like psychology, like their psyche and just their lives, and then trying to see how that results in the murder, I thought, and trying to guess like who gets murdered, I thought that was a pretty fun part. So that happened. I will say the plot twist was good, but kind of like the Honjin murders, it felt like it wasn't super possible to get to that conclusion. If anybody who read either or both books was able to, like with the correct motivation and all of that, please share, like let me know. I will be very impressed, and I would love to see like how you came to that conclusion. But for me personally, I just felt like it wasn't, like on the guest list, it was a good plot twist, but was it a plot twist readers could have seen coming? Maybe, but it would have been a little bit, it would have felt a little bit like a stretch, I feel like. And then what else? But it was fun. I liked the ending. I was like, for me, this seems like a bit of a happy ending. It might sound bad to say that, but if you were reading it, I feel like this was, you know, is murder the answer? I would say no, but in this case, it's a good ending. But yeah, so that is what I read in October. Only 3 books, unfortunately. I hope to read more in November, but I highly doubt I will be able to, unless I just I pull off some miracle. But yeah, so that was it for this video. Let me know how your October went. What was your favorite read? Sorry, battery cut off. Whoops. So let me know what your favorite read was. If you had a least favorite, how many books did you read? Did you do like spooky, or was it, you know, a set TBR, or like different genres? And yeah, please let me know down below, and I will see you guys. Thank you for watching, and I hope you guys share with me how your October went, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.